What's your thoughts just on the development that this program has at Georgia?
I think they do a really good job of finding these guys that are. I mean, I'll throw Lad 80. I'll throw 80 Mitchell, even though he transferred and ended up getting drafted from Texas. Of Javon Bullard, these guys that maybe don't have some of the measurables in high school, or maybe there's some reason that they're not ranked as high, but they bring them in but find those physical traits like Lad running a 4.39, 80 running I think a low 4.3, and Javon Bullard running a mid 4, and bringing them in and developing that talent and putting them into a system that really shows their strengths and allows them to develop into high-end college players and day 1 and day 2 draft picks.
Yeah, Hayden, I want to talk about Jayden a little bit. So last year, you can't really take away too much. He ends up going to Arizona State, early enrollee, plays in 3 games, deals with some injuries. I think he's, according to this, coming off a thumb surgery, so he didn't necessarily get to play a lot. He was considered to be kind of coming back into the fray this past spring. Now he transfers to Georgia. So what do you think he can take away from just that first year? And what do you think ultimately led to his decision to want to leave?
When it comes to what he can take away, I mean, it's still, he started multiple games. He won that camp coming out of spring last year and going into fall. He got injured. Stuff happens. I think you can take a little bit away. And it's starting experience. It's something that Georgia most likely, unless they bring another transfer, will not have going into 2025. When it comes to his experience and his interesting journey this far, I think some of it was, I mean, when all the problems happened right after he enrolled at Florida, getting to another school that late in the cycle very well could have been very hard for Jayden. So Arizona State may have been one of his only options and not somewhere he really wanted to be. And then he comes into spring, he's coming off a major injury, and someone's passed him by going into the spring that, while he may be more talented, that person got to start the entirety of the spring for the Sun Devils, or last season for the Sun Devils, and was most likely getting more of the first team reps.
And here's another question, Hayden. So you mentioned he's had an interesting journey, and 100%. And so you have this guy that he's going into college, he's signing the NILs or whatever. Now it doesn't work out at this school, and it almost feels like going to Georgia, it's like, in a way that is kind of humbling. It's also like a test for him because the quarterback room's deep, and it looks like he's going from a guy was one of the first people to get the NILs going into college. Now he's going to a place like Georgia where it's like that's going to be all business. I mean, it is. He's just one of the main guys in that quarterback room. He's obviously got great coaches to learn from, but I feel like this is a big change in that regard where he is going to have to be humbled, and it's like all business now.
Yeah, I feel like he very well may have been humbled a little bit, and it may also be that he's looking more at the big picture of, instead of trying to get money today and make $1 million or whatever he was given at Florida and Arizona State, looking at the big picture, saying, "Hey, Georgia's their last 2, Stetson Bennett, Jake Fromm were both late round draft picks, and now Carson Beck's expected to be one of the first quarterbacks off the board in next year's NFL draft, and it may be more so I'm going to compete for the job, I'm going to get developed, and I'm going to be a high round draft pick and make my money in the NFL, not in college."